mechanical engineering student, so we don't work with hearts, we work with steel. So it's seeing a really neat application of that. And that's what initially got me started. What I'm trying to do is make a computer tool, pretty much a simulation, which allows for us to understand how the heart functions. So the tricuspid valve is located on the right side of the heart, and its primary function is one-way blood flow through the heart. So blood would enter into the atrium, it would then move through the tricuspid valve into the ventricle. The ventricle would contract, and that's the pumping that you typically see with the hearts. Essentially what we have here is the geometry of the tricuspid valve we constructed. As you can see, it's a pretty good representation of what we would expect for the closure. This is the first step in understanding the mechanics behind the tricuspid valve. We're trying to get it as close as possible. Right now we're just using pig hearts. It would be ideal if we could use human, but human tissues can be hard to come by, especially for the heart.
When we test this tissue, we can see how it stretches with some applied force. So with that deformation, we can get some parameters, and from those parameters we can implement those into a specific material model, which can be used in those simulations. Because it's a very complex structure, so by doing different testing protocols, we can get better characterizations. Some of the long-term, or like the big overview kind of goal, is we would like to be able to develop some framework where we can take a patient-specific geometry, put it into this model, and figure out what treatment method would actually work best for that patient.
As we move towards refining the pig model, we can eventually show the predictive capabilities of these models, so we can start to show how therapeutics affect the mechanics, and we can say, hey, we have this model which allows for us to predict these. Possibly you could use them in the clinical setting. So if you have a patient who comes in with regurgitation and you get the imaging, you can put it into this framework and then see which surgical therapeutic would be the most beneficial.